IP and the intellectual property. I don't know that the businesses are well vested, with the researcher. They have this tool and, trying to develop it. And, we kind of, we're going through some of that right now. I'll go to a pitch for my entrepreneur class at CEL, and my reactors almost jumped up off the table. They were like, "D, do you guys have that patent?" And I'm like, "No, it's just a thought in our head, and it's on the phase 1 on a piece of paper." They're like, "Oh no, you have you have companies out here, tech companies that are smarter, faster, and have more money than you guys. Mm-hmm. Get that, and anybody around you guys
don't talk about
it, and have everybody sign an NDA." And I'm going to Debbie. I'm like, "Oh my God, this is what happened." And she's looking like
non-disclosure agreement. First time we had one of the faculty saying about the non-disclosure, they were like, "What?" Because of course, when you do research in an academic, the academic center owns the data.
Right.
But now all of these researchers are working for the company. Right. We're working for Dee, and she owns the data. The company owns the data, so she and I own the data, not the cancer center. And so that's a whole new thing. And also, as a researcher, first thing we want to do, we get any preliminary data, we want to go do a poster and tell everybody about it and how effective this was. Woo! No, you can't do that.
And I'm looking at her like, okay, is this a deal breaker? Because I was like, you can't publish this and do all. And she's go, "Oh my God, I can't."
But now at the position where I am in my academic career, that's okay. Yeah. I don't need another publication. I don't need another poster. So I need the company to work. Yeah. So it's okay for me to say, I'm not going to present this.
Yeah. And I'm sure that's hard for her. You've been doing that for 30 years and you're just looking like, I found some good information and I want to share it. And she's always have mentored her staff to give out everything, share. We share everything. So now we're looking like, we can't share the information. No.
So with the issue of IP or intellectual property, which I was totally ignorant about to begin with, but it's very interesting that as a researcher and an academic, you don't even hardly think about that. I mean, if you're working on products or drugs or things that you're going to patent, there's a lot of interest. But actually, our statistician working with us addressed some of this with us earlier than I even started thinking about it in terms of the cancer center. Because as a researcher at the cancer center, everything we do and all the data that we have belongs to the cancer center. However, the concepts for the business that we were doing goes back to actually 1991 and the not-for-profit. But we had to prove that to the institution. We had to have a meeting, and it was very interesting that until all of a sudden there was the potential for any money to be made, which I think happened when we got the STTR grant, is that nobody paid much attention to what we were doing or how we were doing it or anything. And then all of a sudden there's the issue of licensure and who owns this, and do we pay them or do they pay us, or where did this concept come from? The idea that where did the concept come from, and who owns it, and where does it belong? And it was very helpful for us to actually have the tech transfer, now director, as part of our sprint team, because he saw how it developed and he saw exactly how we did the aha moments and where things came from. And the other piece is because of the phase 1, it's a feasibility study, and so a lot of the specifics about scripting and product and a lot of these things are still being developed. So it's not done yet. And it wasn't done necessarily in the R01 that I had for Witness Cares and that we worked on for colorectal cancer. So some of the concepts were there, but a lot of it was not. So we did have to go back and do a timeline from the very beginning, back from 1991 forward, for all the conceptual things for the outreach and engagement piece that we've been doing, and the networking and what Dee's been doing, and then the whole not-for-profit and how they had the things the contracts that they had that we used as the pattern for the business was actually from the not-for-profit, as well as the environmental health care changes that happened with the Affordable Care Act. So we had a large meeting with everybody and the 3 attorneys from the Cancer Center and our attorney and various things, and talked through all of this, and it was good to get that settled. And I would really encourage people to think about keeping a timeline if they're going to be developing these concepts and what they're doing, and documenting when things happened so that you can go back and show that. It's very important.